Amen, amen. It is my pleasure to invite our beloved congregant, my friend, a learned teacher here at Congregation Har HaShem, Stuart Feinhor, to come and teach us and I don't know, and surprise us. Come on this side. You can take off your mask and I'll put mine on if you'd like. 1 second.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Every pair of lips moves in unison. When you can hear them or not, you can read the word. You're singing it yourself. Dayenu.
That's not on.
It's not on? Okay, start again. I might have turned it off.
Ah.
All right, start your dramatic beginning again. So take two.
Thank you, Todd. Every pair of lips moves in unison. Whether you can hear them or not, you can read the word. You're singing it yourself. Dayenu. So I work for Jewish Family Service in Boulder, and this was our 5th Seder of the year 5782. It was my 6th Seder of the year, and I was marveling at how everybody at every Seder, youngish, older, oldish, oldisher, whether they recall or recite any other part of the service, they join in when we get to Dayenu, right? Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. At each of the 5 Seders that we held, led by wonderful rabbis and parachaplains from the community, and thank you so much if you're listening. When we got to Dayenu, the smiles grew wider, the voices got louder, the eyes sparkled more brightly, and the rooms warmed. That such a simple word, sung in that familiar catchy tune, could both unite everyone in the room and yet transport them back in time to their childhood seders, always too long, is one of those wonderful things in life, something that most of us, I assume, share. Lots of people don't get to or through Chad Gadya, but nobody skips at least a few verses of Dayenu. What is Dayenu? I don't mean what does the word mean. We know it means if it would have been enough. I mean, what does enough mean? What is enough? When is enough? I'm actually talking about the portion that is read traditionally for tonight, not the Reform one, because I got confused. So we read the second Shabbat of Pesach from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 22, through chapter 16, verse 17, plus a bit from chapter 28 of the book of Numbers. In multiple lines, we are instructed on what is enough. A 10th part of all the yield of your sowing, every 7th year for this, every 6th year for that, and also maybe what is too much. For example, we are ordered to consume the tithes of your new grain and wine and oil in the place where God will choose to establish the divine name. But should the distance be too great for you to schlep your stuff, you can convert your goods into money and spend it at the place that God has chosen. There was no Bloomingdale's, so I don't know what they bought. It's anybody's guess. But they could do that. Further on, we are instructed every 3rd year to bring out the full tithe of your yield, but to leave it for the Levites, who we know don't have any hereditary portion, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, so that they might have enough. Indeed, in chapter 15, verse 4, we read, "There shall be no needy among you, since your God shall bless you in the land that God is giving you." But it continues, "If there is a needy person among you, do not harden your heart and shut your hand against your needy kin," a clear allusion to Pharaoh and his hardened heart. Rather, the Parsha continues, "You must open your hand and give readily, for there will never cease to be needy ones in your land." The portion continues with rules for remembering the exodus from Egypt, but not eating anything leavened for 7 days, and then counting off 7 weeks, which brings us to the holiday of Shavuos. With just these few snippets of text, enough questions arise to ask again, what is enough? What does needy mean? Needy in a physical sense, in terms of spiritual deprivation. Who decides? Who defines? Everybody wants, but that's a different story. When giving to a nonprofit such as Har HaShem or JFS, how do you choose which box to check? $18, $180, $1,800, other? What about people who seem to be of endless need? When do we say enough to them, or do we? Working in the helping professions or other forms of service, one encounters people for whom there is never enough, whether in reality or in perception. The need is so great and the time is too short. Lifelong patterns of behavior cannot always be altered to provide for oneself. What do we do then? It's not a question of money per se. There's enough money in the world right now to solve every problem if we wanted to and create a real Eden, but the will is obviously not there. Someone can build a private spaceship to Mars, but seem to be okay leaving people in poverty on Earth. For example, some estimate that Mr. Musk earns up to, I know it's Shabbos, but I'm going to say it anyway, $432 million a day. Is that enough? Today is Earth Day. We Boldrites like to believe we are aware, but are we aware enough? Enough to use turn signals at every instance as a matter of courtesy? Enough to prevent homelessness? Enough to allow for diversity for home ownership and rental opportunities for our teachers and service workers to live here? Enough to say yes in my backyard? Within moments of the Marshall Fire, money, goods, and offers of shelter and rescue came pouring in with an intensity that almost matched the devastation itself. JFS was fortunate to receive enough funds, largely from Jewish Colorado, gift cards and laptop computers to start providing immediate assistance. In collaboration with the JCC and other community partners, we were able to dispense emergency financial funds that enabled people to start replacing dishes, underwear, shoes, and blankets. People opened their hearts and wallets and homes for others who never imagined they would find themselves among the needy of our community. Indeed, many fire survivors express embarrassment because they had to ask for help at all. While it's understandable, it's also sad. So I'll share that I've gone through periods when I needed Medicaid or food assistance. I felt ashamed for getting myself into that position in my life. I'm a well-educated Jew, perceived to be a white male in America, so what happened? It was hard walking into the Boulder County Human Services building, but harder ultimately not to because I didn't have enough. I'm grateful, though, for this experience because it expanded my degree of compassion and empathy for my fellow human beings. Last year, Barbara Streisand, our leader, who turns 80 on Sunday, Mazel Tov Babs, released a second album of previously unreleased recordings. Titled Release Me 2, Release Me the First came out in 2012. I'm happy to talk about that later, in case you were wondering. But this album opens with a song by two Buchers you might know, Burt Bacharach and Hal David. It was written in 1971. It's called Be Aware. And a few of the lyrics go like this. When the sun is warm where you are, and it's comfortable and safe where you are, well, it's not exactly that way all over. And while your stomach's full, somewhere in this world, someone is hungry. When there is so much, should anyone be hungry? And while children sleep, somewhere in this world, a child is homeless. When there is so much, should any child be homeless? Today is Earth Day, as I said, and these lyrics from 1971 are as relevant today as they were 51 years ago when it was written. I hate this expression now more than ever, because I mean ever, but Googling the lyrics for Dayenu, I came across a website called Dayenu, a Jewish call to climate change. If you want to know, it's dayenu.org. Their tagline reads, "We have had enough. We're building a movement to confront the climate crisis rooted in Jewish values, experience, and spirit." Turns out this organization was founded by a former HUC classmate of mine, Rabbi Jenny Rosen, so that's pretty cool. This isn't necessarily a plug for them, I'm just sharing the intel. When it comes to climate change, I still wouldn't say now more than ever, but I would admit that it's too close for comfort, and that's good. This is not a time to be comfortable. So what is enough? If we stop using fossil fuels right now, will it be enough? If we install solar panels on every home, will it be enough? If we magically switch to electric cars tomorrow or after Shabbos, would that be enough? If we bought, saved, had, made, kept only what we needed, would that be enough? There's no question that we're living through tough times. Not tougher than ever, but challenging and exhausting and unsettling. Man-made problems require man-made solutions, so it's up to us. I'm not holding my breath for relief from the heavens. What comforts me, and I hope brings some encouragement to you, are the actions people took and take when disaster strikes. Yes, we at JFS encountered a few scammers not affected by the fire, but overwhelmingly, there was such an outpouring of love and kindness, it reminded me that when there is so much, we can and do much more than what is enough. Shabbat Shalom.